Brittany Unger. I am a senior sociology major. I know a lot about mental health. I've actually struggled with a mental illness since I was 13, and then I also have a brother who struggles with depression. For me, it started when I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and that's how I started to understand what mental health really was. I have had depression and anxiety for 9 years, and I was recently just diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, which is my thinking's very black and white. I have very irregular moods, and it's just a struggle on a day-to-day basis just because you never know what your mood's going to be. And with my brother, he actually attempted suicide twice, and it was just really hard because I had to be there with him in the hospital, and it's just hard when you struggle with it too, and your heart hurts for that person. A lot of people try to push away mental health and don't want to talk about it. In my family, we don't really, even though me and my brother struggle with it, my parents do not want to talk about it. My grandparents do not want to talk about it. It's a very taboo subject in our family. And so I think it's just, they need to be educated. And not so much formally, maybe just through talking with us, maybe just asking us hey, how are you feeling? What is this? Just to get a sense of what mental health really is. I think advocating is a big thing. I know we just did an Out of the Darkness walk here on campus, and we raised a little over $10,000 for it. And we had, I think, 241 people walk. So I think just raising money, talking about it, having these events that draw people in and can share their stories together, I think that's a big way to bring awareness. Personally, when I first found out I was diagnosed with depression, my mom's first instinct was okay, you belong in a psych ward. And it's just, it hurts and it's really hard because that's not what I needed to hear. I just needed to, hear support and comforting words. And so I think there's just a lot of negativity around it, and people are just scared to talk about it. Especially with what's going on in the world now with all the mass shootings, I think people see us as dangerous and violent. As some people stated earlier, I think it's just hard because, you look at yourself and you don't want to think wow, am I dangerous? Am I violent? I don't think I am. So it's, I think those are very big stereotypes that need to be destroyed. It actually took me a long time to open up about it. At the time I was raising my 7 siblings, so I didn't really care too much about myself at the time. So I just struggled internally and didn't really talk about it. So it actually took me until someone had come up to me and said, hey, you just don't seem like yourself. Is there any way I can help? And she actually took me to a counselor, and that was my first experience ever talking to someone, and the weight that was lifted off my shoulders was tremendous. So yeah, I think just that was the first step I needed to understand what mental health was, is just talking to a professional. I know it's hard to love someone that's a little more on the difficult side, if they're very negative or they're just feeling down that day, it's hard to connect with people. But I think just showing people a little TLC, tender love care, I think it could change a life. It just being open and honest, asking how they are, would help a lot.